All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video, and in today's video, guys, we're gonna kind of talk about game balance, about the current state of the game as far as deck representation goes. Should certain cards be banned? Things like this, and it's going to be kind of like a state of the game style of video, where things are in the current state of the game, at least over in the West. We can look a little bit into the East, but I mainly want to focus on the West because that's what's relevant to us, and to the people who watch this channel, obviously. So yeah, guys, let's just go ahead and dive into it. You know what you're getting into. You see Big Mom right on the front here. I'm probably going to say things in this video that are going to annoy or frustrate people. I'm sorry, guys, but some of this stuff does have to be said because I think a lot of people are seeing things in the wrong light, and they're expecting too much perfection or something. I don't know. And for anyone who plays TCGs or who has played them in the past or plays them religiously or whatever, like, you'll know right away that things are in a pretty good spot. So just to kind of give you guys a spoiler, yeah, that's where we're going with this video. Things are not as bad as people are saying. So, okay, so let's go ahead and dive into this. Like I said, state of the game style video. I want to know what you guys have to say in the comment section below. Tell me what y'all think. Where do y'all think the game is? And again, let's not talk about prices. Let's talk about balance specifically. This is not a price watch video. This is not a market watch video. I do those once a month, usually the very first week of every month. But let's keep this focused on, like, game design. Let's keep this focused on game balance and how the current meta is. So yeah. All right, so let's dive into it. So first and foremost, I got to get this off my chest because it has been absolutely toxic in a personal way to me. In a, like, how do I say this? So yes, I follow a lot of content creators, and I'm also on quite a few little Discords. And I have recently left a Discord. I'm not even going to we're not going to talk any details about the who, what, when, and where. But I left the Discord because of misinformation being thrown around. As in, yeah, this card right here on the screen, Linlin, as I call it, is getting banned. Rebecca, getting banned. Gecko Moria, getting banned. And it's like, okay, who are you people saying this? And I don't mean that in an offensive or rude way, but did you get, like, some personal insider information from the people who made the game? Because otherwise you need to quit talking in a matter-of-fact way. And I have to just say that this card does not need to be banned. The card you're looking at on the screen right here does not need to be banned. And if you think it does, you need to start looking at the results from more than just one tournament where it won. Because Sakazuki's doing very well right now. And by the way, do not misunderstand what I'm about to say. I'm not saying Sakazuki's broken. I'm not saying Purple Luffy or Enel's broken. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just specifically pointing out that there are plenty of decks winning, and it's not just decks that are running Linlin. That's for sure. Does the card feel bad to go against when they start snowballing against you? Sure. But if they're able to drop Linlin after Linlin after Linlin, well, you probably weren't winning that game then. Like, that's kind of the idea, right? If you have no pressure on your opponent at all, because remember, yellow doesn't run a lot of removal, like, unless they got lucky with some thunderbolts or lucky with some, I don't know, Gadatsus or something. I'm not exactly sure. Excuse me. If you're playing against someone and they can just drop Linlin after Linlin on you, you're doing something wrong. I don't know how to say it. It's just, yes, and who knows? Maybe every now and then a Katakuri player will just get the perfect pull. It happens. Just like I've seen a Katakuri player get a perfect pull. I've seen an Enel player get a perfect pull. I've seen, fill in the blank, Purple Luffy. I've seen Blue Black Sakazuki. I've seen people get the perfect pulls. When that happens, it happens. This is cards. This is cards after all. It happens. But generally speaking, I don't see any problem with this card. And let's just go ahead. I just had this list up because it was the most recent one we were looking at here. And again, I do want to know what you guys think about this stuff. But at the same time, just understanding where I'm coming from, I'm not trying to just full on complain. And I could talk about some other balance principles as well, like triggers. If you wanna argue with me about triggers, go ahead. Like that, like, you want to be arguing with me. I just think triggers are a detriment to this game. And that I can go down an entire rabbit hole on. Like, I mean, I could go down a whole underworld empire on something like that. Like, just do a deep dive into that. But as far as, like, individual cards, like, I don't think 10 cost Dofi needs to be, limited down to 1. I don't think 10 cost Kaido needs to be limited down to 1. I don't think red, what's his name, Edward Newgate needs to be limited down to 1. Or, of course, Linlin, I don't think either. I think these cards are very strong. And if they were going to do that, then it needs to be a universal thing where all 10-cost cards need to be limited to 1. Some people might have that argument. It is what it is, but I don't know if that would necessarily be the healthiest thing for the game. And y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below about that. But let's just go through the list real quick here. We'll go through, I have Eggman Events website up as well, which we'll check out in a second. But I'm just on topdecks.com, OnePieceTopdecks.com. You can check out this information for yourself. And let's just sort through these real quick. Like, okay, let's go to, sorry guys, OP05 Sakazuki. Yeah, there's a lot of Sakazukis on here. So for the people who are saying, like, oh, and then this only gets worse when Gecko Moria comes out, right? The 8-cost Gecko Moria and a few other the Blue Searcher Shishigi. Like, oh, then Sakazuki's going to be even more broken. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. And again, we can go over to OP06 as well. But I don't think you're going to be happy with what you see there. Because just recently they had Nationals over in Japan, or maybe it was Regionals. It was Regionals or Nationals, like a big tournament just this past weekend. And Green Uda beat Yellow Katakuri in the finals. I don't know what to say. You know, like, if, you know, in that case, how's Blue-Black Sakazuki broken? And then if you want to argue with me, well, no, okay, well, Blue-Black Sakazuki's broken because of this, that, or the other. Well, we have even more evidence here in the West that it's not. Because Enel won in North America, and, excuse me, and Purple Luffy won in Latin America. Again, guys, I'm just going to say this. I think One Piece, a lot of people aren't going to want to hear this because so many people are doom and gloom out there. Sorry, I'm just going to say it. A lot of people are doom and gloom out there, and they just want to they want to see One Piece just fold. They want to see One Piece, like, crash and burn. That's fine if you want to see it like that. But the reality of the situation is the game has probably not ever been in a better spot than it is right now. Because you have 3 very, very competitive decks that almost form a perfect triangle against each other. Where Blue-Black has the advantage against Purple, Purple has the advantage against Yellow, Yellow has the advantage against Blue-Black. It's pretty nice. And then in between there somewhere, there are other decks that can kind of make waves on occasion. Right? Like, let me get off the OP05 Sakazuki only. Number 1, we see what Uda's doing now. Uda's a serious contender to be in the S tier range. High A to S tier if we're doing, like, deck, you know, what's it called? Deck tier lists. Because it's winning. Like now that people understand exactly how to build it, it's been out for long enough where people can build it. Excuse me. It can win. So let's just go through the decks that can win from each color. Okay, Blue-Black has Sakazuki. I'm just going to end it there, and soon it'll even have Gecko Moria if you just stick to just black. And then Blue-Purple and Raiju coming up. I'm getting ahead of myself. But right now, Purple Luffy, Blue-Black Sakazuki, Yellow Enel or Katakuri. Either one's fine. Green Uda. And what does that leave? Red? Like, red's the one deck where it's like, okay, there's not like this perfect representation of it just yet. Well, Zoro does still pop up. This one got top 4 in a 480-player tournament. Red-Green Law will probably be popping up soon once it gets access to the EB stuff, the EB01 stuff. I think it will have an actual chance. Here's Zoro getting top 4 in a 2,000-player tournament. You know, this was U.S. Nationals, obviously. Oh, look at this. Top 4 in the same tournament, 2,000-player tournament. There were 2 red decks, you know? So yes, while Sakazuki, and we will look at that real quick, like I have it up over here. While it is true that Sakazuki is like the overwhelming majority of some of these lists, I think it's because people just like the way the deck plays. It's 2 very popular colors. You know, black has all the navy and KO removal stuff, and now all the trash recursion. And then blue has the bottom decking stuff and all kinds of other cool stuff too now with you know, 7-cost Borsellino is like this navy body with bottom decking, you know. And it's got Kaido, the 10-cost that draws 4 and stuff. It's got some cool cards. So yeah, a lot of people want to play this deck because it's also a very well-rounded deck that has a very high level of complexity and that rewards skilled play. And then you have players that want to play the yellow stuff, like right here with Katakuri and Enel. That was 1/4 of the tournament turnout. Because, yeah, the deck, they're very straightforward. You know, there's, you know, think of it like this. The blue-black stuff is basically your control deck currently. So there's your control archetype. The yellow stuff, honestly, I would argue the yellow is probably, I don't know, it's hard to say. It's almost like there's not a great aggro deck right now because of Sakazuki. But yellow and purple are both mid-range decks to me. And some of their pulls can come across as like super aggressive aggro. But anyway, long story short, all I'm saying is this. Oh, that was the top 16 breakdown, by the way. Sorry, guys. When you look at the entire breakdown, you know, Sakazuki had about 33% turnout. Yellow had the other 33%. And the remaining 33% was red and purple. So, I mean, there you go. There's a small gap of green. There's not many green decks, I should say. But at the same time, I think people didn't realize how strong Uda actually was. And since OP0's, or excuse me, since this weekend, when it won a major tournament in the East, without, like, I don't think it had any extra cards from OP06. Like, yeah, I think it only had ST 11 or whatever Uda is. And that's it. And then, like, whatever was before then. And it won a major tournament. So, yeah, I don't know. Excuse me, guys. I think the game is in a very good spot. I'm just going to end it right there as far as, like, I don't... Is there room for improvement? Sure. Of course there is. But, like, every single color is represented fairly well here. Yes, there is a little more blue-black than the other colors. But, like I said, it's just something people want to play. And if that is the case, then why would we ever ban Charlotte Linlin, the 10-cost Linlin? You know, it goes back to these arguments that I've seen that are just... They're so rage-inducing. I'm not going to lie. They're so tilting. Because it's just pure conjecture. There's just nothing backing up what people are saying sometimes. Whereas I'm using just pure facts here. These are just numbers. These are just straight numbers. Is Sakazuki overrepresented? Sure. Yes, it is. But let's look forward. Let's see what we can look forward to in OP06.5. If we go to deck list on OnePieceTopDecks.com and go over to the east, we can check out OP06. And here we go. Here's the breakdown. I don't even have to sort through them. Katakuri with 32 total decks on here. Sakazuki with 62. Gecko Moria with 63. Enel with 24. Yamato with 24. And Raiju with 15. These are the top 6 decks over there. Yellow, blue-black, yellow, green-yellow, black, blue-purple. So again, there's not a huge representation of red. But at the same time, Newgate did have 12 up here. And where's Zoro? Corona had 13. But where is Zoro? I'm sorry, guys. Dude, it was up here. It only had 3. But this was in the West. Or excuse me, this was in the East. The West does favor the red decks a little more. And who knows, they might have just not even calculated everything. I can't wait to mess with Red Yellow Sabo. I don't know what is that. That deck just looks like so much fun to me. So honestly, the only deck that could use more representation right now is red. And they just had OP0, 3, and 4 to dominate. So I honestly think it's nice seeing these other colors outside of red show up and make an appearance. And I'm not saying that red should be nerfed or anything. I'm not against red. I'm just saying this is pretty nice, and the direction of the game seems pretty good. I know, like I said, I feel like no one wants to hear stuff like this. No one wants to hear that the game is doing well, other than the diehard fans. I get it. Like I want the game to do well, and many of the people I know want it to go well. But yeah, guys, currently, what needs to be banned? Let me finish this video off with that. Like, what card do you guys honestly think needs to be banned right now, or restricted down? Because if you say, like, let's just say Gecko Moria. If you say the 8-cost, what's his name, Gecko Moria, the character. Well, I mean, again, if we go through each one of these tournaments, like, let's look at the major, like, massive tournaments over here. What's this one? First place was, yeah, this is the last big tournament from over in the East in OP06. Before they went over to OP06.5, and then the ST13 stuff came in majorly. Like, it was in this, but, like, they did a major swap. And here you go. Katakuri won this one. So there was no 8-cost Charlotte, or excuse me, 8-cost Gecko Moria. And then we go down, let's go down to the next major tournament. This one's 400-plus players. Is there a first place? This one was Sakazuki, so there's a blue-black deck. Okay, then we go down to the next major tournament. 200 players. I think we can count a 200-player tournament. This one was all Sakazuki, by the way. First place for this one, you know, almost a 100-player tournament. But it was 3-on-3, never mind. Those 3-on-3 ones are so annoying to me. I'm sorry, guys. I know a lot of people do still like those. But here's a 1,500-player tournament right here. First place was Green Yellow Yamato. What else do we got? Here's a 3-on-3, never mind. I'm just saying, guys, when you go through this, and this is from the East, this is from the East. Blue Purple Reiju winning a 450 player tournament. What more variety could you ask for, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And again, we'll have to see what the West does with it. But this is pretty diverse. Like, this looks like a pretty healthy format to me personally. Here's a green-black Perona deck getting first place in a 1,000 player tournament. Okay, let me go down to one more page. Let's see if there's any other big tournaments on this page. Okay, 450 player tournament, first place was Sakazuki. 100 player tournament, 3-on-3. First place here, green yellow Yamato in a 500 player tournament. And look at the spread on this one, guys. Like, look at this: green yellow, red what's his name, Newgate, yellow, 2 yellow Katakuris, 2 black Gecko Morias, another Katakuri, just all over the place. Green, yellow, black, and red with no blue in the top 8. Or excuse me, here was 1 blue black Sakazuki went 9-1 in the top 8. So, again, I do want to hear what y'all have to say down in the comment section below. Do y'all see it the same way I do? I see the game as being in a very good position. I don't think anything needs to be banned currently, or anything even limited down. We'll have to see how things, how things, I was going to say transpire. I don't know if that's the right word for it. We'll have to see how things go over here in the West compared to the East. But, yeah, I don't see any imminent problems coming up. I don't see a problem with Linlin. I don't see a problem with Akos Gecko Moria. I don't see a problem with Rebecca. I don't see a problem with any of these cards. The only things that I've expressed issues with, just to do a little bit of a critical analysis or critique here, constructive criticism, whatever you might call this, any form of bottom decking removal, I think is too powerful. I've said that since the very beginning, especially when there's no cost associated with it like there is for most black cards. Most black cards have a KO effect, right? Where, like Sakazuki, the 6 cost character Sakazuki, is a card you just plop down, and you have to trash a card from hand, and you can KO a 5 or less. Well, you have to trash a card from hand to do this, and it KOs. Whereas Houndblaze, or let's just say 7 cost Borsellino, just straight up bottom decks a card. That's a 4 cost or less. And it didn't cost any card from hand other than the 7 cost 8K you're establishing on the board. I think bottom decking is slightly too powerful, and that's what's causing blue-black Sakazuki to be as strong as he is. Yellow having access to triggers in the... Let me say it like this. The specific kind of triggers they have are slightly too powerful. Because they're trashing a card... Sorry. They're trashing a card from their hand to play out a 5K character. Well, yeah, that's a massive tempo swing, because then it's going to be able to swing the next turn. And then they also have cards like Beige, 200 million volts of Maru. Like, I'm talking about their trigger effect. I don't really mind their activate main effects or their character. Like in Beige's character, he's still a 2K counter, but he's not really known for having a special on play or anything. He's just a 2K counter that has an incredible trigger effect. So, I mean, those cards have very powerful effects. And honestly, yeah, they're a little bit detrimental to the game's survival, in my opinion. Like, because it makes it wildly punishing to just play against those, like a deck like yellow or blue, where it has bottom decking or where it has triggers you have to go through. Because the way to get around removal, or not to get around per se, but the way to combat removal is on KO effects or cannot be KO'd effects. Well, blue just says, who cares about that? We're going to bottom deck it. That's a little toxic, for sure. And it can't be played around. And when there's no cost association with it, where, like I said, you're just paying the cost of the card, not having to trash a card from hand. Well, yeah, there you go. You start making other forms of removal, like in black, obsolete. Like, why would I run a card that KOs? Like let's just go back to the example I was using, the 6 cost 7K Sakazuki character. Why would I ever run that card when I can just run a blue-black deck that for 1 cost more, I can bottom deck any card in the game? Or for 2 costs less, I can bottom deck, 3 I can't do math, 4 costs less. I'm thinking about Houndblaze. You just combo it with another card. And some people might be thinking, like, yeah, but that's kind of the same thing, because you're using a bottom deck and a card out of hand, like Ice Age, to bottom deck a bigger card, which is the same idea as Sakazuki. Wrong. because Hound Blaze, first of all, is buffing your character, making your lesser characters stronger, like your searchers, like Brand New and soon Tashigi. It's making them stronger, and it costs way less. So you're going to be able to do so much more in that turn. The amount of utility and versatility just goes through the roof at that point. So, so no, I don't think Sakazuki's broken. I think that certain forms of removal are broken. I do. You know, and people might think like, oh, but that's Sakazuki. It's like, no, it's not just, you know, it's not like you have 12 Hound Blazes in your deck. You know, you're probably going to run 4 Hound Blaze and probably 2 to 3 Borsalinos, the 7-cost Borsalino. Well, that's it for your removal, right? That's it for your bottom decking. Everything else is going to have to be dealt with Lucci or on the board. So again, I'm not trying to say, how do I say this? I just don't think that Sakazuki's broken. I think it is taking advantage of a mechanic that is slightly too powerful in bottom decking. And again, don't misunderstand me. I don't think anything needs to go away. We're stuck with what we're stuck with, right? They can't change the game at this point. So yes, bottom decking will be powerful for the rest of any game's future because it bypasses all the mechanics the game is built around. And then yellow with the triggers also bypasses all the rules that are meant to be in a game to maintain balance. They're getting cards for free. Like, you're just trashing a card in hand to play the card. So yeah, it's not free, and you do have to hit the trigger, but there's ultimately no way to play around it. And I understand people are going to say, like, no, you can play around it by doing this. No, you still have to attack your life eventually. So unless you have Banish built in your deck, there's not a way to really play around it. You just, like, the only way you can play around it, for example, is by having removal ready for whatever they get, right? So you're sitting on a Hound Blaze, you swing in, and then you could, like, Great Eruption, and then Hound Blaze the card off the field to swing again. But, yeah, that's assuming you even have answers like that in your deck, right? That your deck can even pull off something like that. Like Purple with Pauly. You know, there's answers. There's ways to play around it, but it still is something that's setting you back, and now they are going to have their whole turn to do what they want because it doesn't cost them any Dawn. So, yeah, that's about it, guys. I'm done rambling. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. This topic's been going around in the community a lot lately. I've seen it pop up on a lot of the people that I watch on their YouTubes. And I've seen it also pop up in Discords, like I said. Like I said, I'm not going to go into any details. I'm just going to say that I've left the Discord recently over this, over just pure misinformation, people being bitter because they're bad at the game. And it's like, I'm just going to complain about this. You know, I'm going to be a hater. I'm going to be just a straight hater and say, this card's got to go, and this card's got to go. Like, tell me you're bad at the game without telling me you're bad at the game. That's basically what it comes down to. And a lot of people aren't going to want to hear that. But you need to learn how to play around cards. And for people who think, like, oh, well, you can't play around Linlin. Well, why isn't it winning every tournament then? Like, oh, but you can't play around Hound Blaze. Well, why isn't it winning every single tournament? And while having the highest output of participation, by the way. You know, well, you can't play around all these triggers like with Enel or Katakuri. Well, again, it's not winning every tournament. So I think we're in a very healthy spot, and you guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. I'm gonna leave it there. Hope y'all enjoyed that. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you've not already. And yeah, please, whatever y'all think the game is going through right now, what do y'all think's broken? What do y'all think needs to change? Do you think we're in a healthy spot? Again, this is not market watch time. We're talking about in terms of balance and in like game balance, and in terms of like state of the game, the meta, triangle. There's basically a triangle meta currently, and what you think about it. All right, guys, that's about it. Hope y'all enjoyed. Like I said, until next time, guys. Peace.